Yo, what up guys, it's your boy here, Judah, Yuya, giving you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 episode review for you guys. I do apologize ahead of time if I sound a little fuzzy or not as clear. I am sick right now, so I can't, if I sniffle from here or there or whatever, I do apologize. I'm sick and I'm just still here doing the review because I really want to do it. It was a really great episode and I want to discuss it with you guys. I want us all to talk about it. So yeah, let's get started. The episode continues off where we left off with Zarc pretty much attacking with Gatling Org to attack a Cabaleo. A Cabaleo counters with his pendulum monsters that are set, which pretty much say while there's earth, wind, water, or fire monster or something, while the different attribute monsters are on the field, his pendulum monsters cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and I think you take no damage on top of that or something regarding to that effect. And since Reiji controls Synchro and Xyz, one of them is a water, the other one is a wind, it pretty much makes it so that he's protected from the destruction that would have happened if Gatling Org went through, and Leo would have lost if that was the case. So it was interesting because we got to see how Reiji reacted to the fact that his monsters pretty much helped out a Cabaleo. He was like, oh, my monsters actually helped him out, helped his strategy out or whatever. So it was pretty cool, pretty interesting how that happens. And throughout the duel, we start to see little moments with Reiji and Leo, and it gets like really intense and heated with all that stuff. So Yuya's pretty much going berserk. Zarc is starting to awaken more in this duel, and Yuya's struggling to maintain control of himself and whatnot. So Leo's getting worried. He pretty much is telling his, I don't know who they are, but I guess some of his subordinates or his scientists, and he's pretty much telling them to hurry up the process of Arc 5 before Zarc revive my daughter before that happens. And it's just panicking, so it's like at 10%, 20%, 30% throughout the episode. It's just slowly going up. So then Reiji pretty much calls Cabaleo out, pretty much saying that, oh, who's the Zarc? You're sacrificing people, killing them off and burning them in a fire like in a furnace, kind of giving an analogy to how he's treating people and stuff, and he's doing this for the revival of his daughter. And he pretty much told him, right now you're the one who seems more like the demon. Pretty much it's Reiji's turn. So Reiji sacrifices his Xyz monster and his Synchro monsters to tribute summon DDD, Hell King, Armageddon. And the reason why he does this is because Cabaleo has him locked down right now, and he doesn't want Cabaleo to gain any advantage, so he sacrifices two monsters, which will open up Cabaleo to Synchro and Xyz summon, but he needs to do it to get over Cabaleo's Pendulum monster, which cannot be attacked unless by another Pendulum monster. So that's why he summons DDD Hell Armageddon to try to get over that. But DDD Hell Armageddon pretty much isn't strong enough to kill it, so then he activates the effect of, I think, his Xyz or his Synchro. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a contract from the deck to your hand. So he adds one of his contracts, a new contract. He activates it. What it does is it pretty much states that when a Pendulum monster, he pretty much targets DDD Hell Armageddon and the other Pendulum monster, and decreases that monster's attack by 1,000, and then increases his monster's attack by 1,000. So that's pretty much how he tries to get over it. And then he looks at Yuya and he says, I think he says like, Yuya, get a hold of yourself. I'm gonna finish the duel right now, and then I'm gonna help you out or whatever, something like that. It might have not happened in that same order, but either way, that's what happened. He pretty much attacks with DDD Hell Armageddon to try to get over him, and what happens after that is Cabaleo activates a trap card. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Disc Pendulum Fusion or Disc something Fusion. And it's a fusion trap card, obviously. And it pretty much states that when a Pendulum monster declares an attack, you can negate that attack and then take control of that monster. So he negates Hell Armageddon's attack and takes control of it. So now Reiji's left kind of wide open there. And then the trap card pretty much allows him to fusion summon right there. And fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck with one less material than you would normally need. So he only needs Pendulum Governor. So he fusion summons Pendulum Governor with itself, because he only needs one material, which I personally don't like, because it's a fusion. It should be two or more monsters, and the fact that he just summoned this new fusion monster with just one monster, I mean, it's cool because it shows how strong he is, but at the same time, it's like that's not really a fusion. That's just you summoning a new monster from an old monster, but whatever. So he fusion summons this new fusion monster that's a level 12, and it's called Master Spirit Tech Force Pendulum Ruler. And this card is pretty strong. It has 3500 attack. Like I said, it's a level 12, and it's actually our very first fusion pendulum monster, which again I don't really like, because not the fact that he has a fusion pendulum, is how he did it. He fusion summoned just with one pendulum monster, because in order to summon a fusion pendulum monster, you would need to fusion summon a fusion monster with a pendulum monster to summon, just like how with Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, in order to summon that, you need Dark Rebellion, which is an Xyz, and you also need a Pendulum monster, which is Odd Eyes, to summon it. And the same goes for Nirvana High Paladin. You needed Enlightenment Paladin, which is a Synchro, and then you needed, I guess, any level 2 Pendulum monster to summon a Pendulum Synchro. So in this case, he didn't do that. He didn't have a fusion on the field, and he only needed one material, so he only had that Pendulum Governor. So I'm just like, okay, you just summoned this brand new summoning mechanic that we've all been waiting for, really. We've all been waiting for, I have at least been waiting for a Pendulum Fusion monster for a very long time, and I was hoping that Yuya would be the first to do it. And I don't mind that he did it first, it's just the fact that he did it without even doing it the appropriate way. He just did it like with just fusing one Pendulum monster, and that's all that he needed. And it was just kind of, I don't know, it just felt kind of cheap to me, kind of like not special, not important anymore. It's almost like we didn't get that big moment for like Nirvana High Paladin or Odd Eyes Rebellion. But either way, that's Master Spirit Tech Force Pendulum Ruler. That's what happens there. Then Leo pretty much calls Reiji out, and he says, since you were a kid, you were always the same. You always had this straightforward way of thinking, and because of the way that you think, I was able to figure you out, and I already know what you're gonna do, and you've always been the same way. And you know, you just go in, charging in, doing what you need to do without completely considering all the options or all the possibilities that could happen. Which is interesting, because I always considered Akaba Reiji to be thinking outside the box and kind of adapting to the situation and being able to counter or come up with something new based on what's going on. That's how I always saw him. But whatever, you know, Leo's calling him out, saying, oh, you know, you're the same as you always are, and you know, that's why I'm able to figure it out. That's why you can't get over me. And he pretty much calls him at one point a second-rate duelist and a teacher or something like that. And then that actually does really get to Reiji, and he actually like makes a stunned face, and he's just like, you could tell in his expression that he's been had, you know. He's been trying so hard to get over Akaba Leo, and Leo has been countering him in every single move, not allowing anything to go through. And you know, he just, at one point in the episode, Reiji's on his knees, because he's just blown away, and he can't do anything, and he looks like he feels kind of powerless, like he can't do much. And it's a shame that the most powerful duelist in the series, a character that we haven't seen duel very often to begin with, is pretty much invulnerable against this villain character, which is good for Akaba Leo, obviously, and you know, and it humanizes Reiji, which is great. You know, people always saying that Reiji's unrealistic and whatever, he's perfect, but you can see here he's not, and he can be easily figured out and countered and whatnot. Well, yeah, moving forward from that, Yuya pretty much activates a trap card, or Zarc, you could say, pretty much activates a trap card, which protects his monsters from battle or destruction, something like that. It's some defensive effect. Then Leo Pendulum summons. He summons Salamander Core and some other core monster, which I believe is a wind attribute. I believe Salamander Core was sent back to the extra deck. No, it was sent back to his hand, because it wasn't Pendulum summoned normally. So then he tributes the other Salamander, the other core monster, and activates its effect. And it's kind of the opposite of Salamander Core, where you tribute it, you can activate its effect twice, and its effect is you can destroy one spell or trap card on the field and inflict 800 points of damage. So Reiji and Yuya or Zarc already have 3200 normally. So Pendulum Ruler pretty much destroys the trap card that Zarc just activated, dealing 800 points of damage. So now they're at 16. So Akaba Leo and Yuya drops to 1600, because the fusion monster Pendulum Ruler has an effect where any damage the opponent takes is doubled. So if you take 800, you take 16. So they went from 32 to 1600 like that because they took double the damage for that spell or trap that they destroyed. And then Pendulum Ruler pretty much destroyed the Covenant that Reiji had, dealing him 1600. And yeah, so it's a very powerful fusion monster. It can't be destroyed by card effects. It can't. I think it can't be attacked or targeted by pendulum, something like that. It's just a really strong card that you can't really do too much to. And yeah, so then Pendulum Ruler pretty much attacks, I believe, Gatling Org, and destroys that. And then yeah, pretty much destroys Gatling Org, dealing damage to Zarc. And he has no protection there. Then Akabaleo pretty much makes DDD Hell Armageddon, since it's on his field, to attack Zarc directly, and he tells Reiji, "Oh, I'm gonna give your monster the satisfaction of defeating Zarc himself." And then Reiji had a certain reaction, like, "Oh no, like that's not what he wanted, and that's not how he wanted it to go down." And so Hell Armageddon attacks, and then Zarc, his rollerblades activate. He rollerblades up a pillar and gets an action card and activates the action magic evasion to negate the attack and end the battle phase. Throughout the entire duel, everybody's questioning, like, oh, is that Zarc or is that Yuya? Like Yuzu and the girls and Reiji, like, they're all questioning, is that Yuya or is that Zarc? And they're trying to figure out who's dueling at which point in the duel. Obviously, Leo already knows for sure that that's Zarc, but the others are still figuring it out. They're trying to figure it out depending on what Zarc or Yuya does. And since action magics are pretty much the way that the Lancers fight, he said, oh, Yuya's still in there, he's still fighting, he's still trying his best to not let Zarc take over him. And he just wants to save Yuya, he wants to save his friend. And it sucks because he's kind of powerless in this situation right now. But yeah, so then it becomes Yuya's turn. He summons Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon onto the field using Entermate Nightmare Slasher or something, and the Golem thing that he used in the last episode. Yeah, so he summons Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Then he activates Phantom Knights of Possession, the same card that he used the last time against Ruuri and Serena. And he makes Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon a level 7, overlays, Odd Eyes, blah blah blah. And then he summons Odd Eyes Raging Dragon once again. You finally see this cool boss monster again. It destroys all spell and trap cards on the field. And it destroys Cabaleo's Pendulum monsters, his own Pendulum monsters, and Reiji's all his spells and traps and whatever else he has on the field. So he pretty much destroyed everything. I think Raging Dragon had like 4,400 attack points. So then Zarc pretty much commands Raging Dragon to attack DDD Hell Armageddon. But something interesting happened. Reiji actually took the battle damage for that, and Leo pretty much stated that trap card has an effect, which the monster that it steals and takes, the original owner of that card takes the damage instead. So Reiji took the damage from that, which sucks. So that put him under 1,000 life points. He was pretty low. Raging Dragon was going to attack Pendulum Ruler, and then Yuzu comes in and she tries to talk to Yuya, and Yuya actually he hears her voice basically, and he kind of stops himself for a second there. She's saying that she believes in him, she wants to see him smile again, she wants the real Yuya back, and you could tell that it actually reached him and it got to him, and only the girls can seem to get to them. The guy that was talking to Caballero, he pretty much said, oh, I think that the Arc 5 machine is at 40% or 50% or something, and Caballero was excited. He's like, yes, I can finally get my daughter back, and he says, activate it as soon as possible. So the machine starts activating. We see Ruuri's hand slightly disappearing and fading off, and the girls are screaming, and then Yudo screams Ruuri's name, and then that's why it activated again, and Zarc took pretty much kind of full control there, and then Odd Eyes Raging Dragon attacked Pendulum Ruler, dealing Caballero some damage. He got thrown back to his throne, and he got hurt a little bit there. Then Zarc pretty much activated the effect of the Entermate the Nightmare one, and every player that took battle damage this turn takes an extra 1,000 points of damage. So Leo would have lost, and so would Reiji, because his life points are also under 1,000, so he would have lost. So then what happens there is we see this giant vortex, about to deal some damage. Then we hear intrusion penalty, and we see that Yusho's there, and he activates a trap card from his hand. I forgot the name of the trap card, I apologize for that, but pretty much the card, in order to activate it, you need to discard your entire hand. It didn't say specifically what it did, but pretty much what it did, it had a bunch of kunais or swords or something, and it went right after Yuya. So then Zarc or Yuya turned around, the swords, grabbed him, pushed him up against the wall on a pillar, and kind of, has it maintained there and stuck there. And then Akaba Reiji's duel just says, "Oh, invalid card activated. The duel is terminated." And then, pretty much, that's the trap card that Yusho used was a trap card that Leo gave him many years ago when they were first testing out the solid vision thing, and this card pretty much was a failure. It was a card that didn't work. After every time they used that card, for whatever reason, it didn't work well with the real solid vision technology, and after the duel would end, the card would not disappear. And yeah, the card would not disappear, which is a faulty. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to disappear once the duel is over, like everything else. But this didn't. So that's why the duel was terminated, because all the duelists detected that was an invalid card. So the duel automatically gets cut off, because it's illegal. And so even though the duel was over, Yuya was still stuck on the wall with the kunais or the swords, whatever they were. And so now Zarc is stuck up there. He's still going kind of berserk, wanting to get free, but he's having he can't move out of there. He's stuck there permanently. Yusho states something interesting about Yuya and Yuzu, and he says, "Oh, I don't think it's a coincidence that Yuya and I don't think it's a coincidence that Yuzu ended up with I forgot what was the name of Yuzu's father, but Yuzu's father, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Yuya and Yuzu ended up being so close together." And he basically said that I think it was Rei's will and her wish that Zarc never be revived again. So she made sure that each one of the counterparts of herself would somehow be drawn towards the counterparts of the Yuyas, so that way they would never be resurrected again. So that's why Yuzu and Yuya just magically ended up together, even though they were technically against each other, when they were combined as one. So this is kind of a measure, and that's why Yuzu's bracelet probably activates every time that more than one of the Yuyas is in the same place, because they're not supposed to be in the same place while she's there. She's like a countermeasure to that, so that's why the bracelet activates and separates them apart to two different locations, so she can only be with one of them at a time. And then Yusho pretty much says, but now no one can stop Zarc's alter egos, because the girls are going to be disappearing, so this is going to be a problem. And then he says, to prevent Zarc's revival, Yuya is not a demon. He's going to do something. He walks away. He gives Reira to Reiji, and then he walks away. He does something. I'm not sure what he's going to do in the next episode, but that's how the episode ends, by him saying that, oh, Yuya's not a demon, and he smiles, and he's pretty much going to do something to try to resolve this issue. Oh yes, the trap card that he used, he was going to use that originally against Leo in case things went down, which is why he had that card in his pocket. And he never thought that he would have to use it against his own son, but he did have to use it because he was going berserk and crazy, so he had no other choice. But yeah, that's the episode for you guys. Next episode, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but I know that Yugo and Ruuri are going to have their duel. I know Edo and Kaito are going to get in there, and they're probably going to duel them or interrupt the duel somehow. So I'm not really sure how things are going to go down. I definitely did not expect the duel to be cut off. So nobody lost the duel, but the duel was cut off. So very good episode. A lot of interesting stuff happened in the duel. It was perfectly animated. I mean, Leo pretty much made Reiji look like a punk, and everybody was gonna pretty much lose in that situation except for Zarc, and it was a fantastic episode, really great. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if this review was a little too long. Thank you guys for everything. I really appreciate it. God bless you guys. Gotcha!
Others, Kingdom Dragon!